This meeting shall come to order at 7:15. If you'd like to join us in the invocation, Councilman Brownlee will lead us. Would you please rise?
After the prayer by Thomas Jefferson, let's bow together. Almighty God, who has given us this city for our home, we humbly ask that we may always prove ourselves a people mindful of your favor and glad to do your will. Bless our city with honorable ministry, sound learning, and pure conduct. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance, and from every evil way. Defend our liberties, and fashion us into one united people, all those brought together here from varying backgrounds and experiences. Bless with your spirit of wisdom, Father, those who in your name we have entrusted with the authority of government, that there may be justice and peace at home, and that through obedience to your law we may show forth your praise for all to see. If we prosper, fill our hearts with thankfulness. In the day of trouble, let our trust in you not fail. All this we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, all. Would you call the roll, please?
Adams. Jones. Here. Zafrati.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Here.
Turjansky.
Here.
Agee.
Here.
Albert.
Here. There is no addendum for this evening, and we do not have minutes as yet. But we do have communications.
Yes, Madam Chair. From Deborah Price, Chairman of the Ohio Liquor Control Commission, a notice to the City of Maple Heights of a hearing on April 10th, 2014 in Columbus for the appeal of the non-renewal of the liquor license of Sub Pub Incorporated, doing business as JD's Tavern at 19807 Libby Road in the City of Maple Heights. And from Mayor Jeffrey A. Lansky, the Mayor's Court Report for the month of February 2014.
There are no committee reports this evening, so we will move immediately to the department reports with Chief Durst.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to commend our firefighters for 2 calls they responded to since our last council meeting. On March 10th, Station 1's Captain Ron Zenz, firefighter Terry Evers, firefighter Christian Clover, firefighter Tim Beck, and firefighter Todd Ziegler responded to a 20-month-old who was not breathing and had no heartbeat. They were able to perform advanced life support measures. We had 4 firefighters in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. And the engine followed them to the hospital to pick up the driver. The child was saved and is doing well. On March 12th, Station 2, firefighters Russell Mackey acting as OLC, firefighter Jim Ferris, firefighter Tony Selar, and firefighter Eric Kincaid responded to a 31-day-old infant that wasn't breathing and had no heartbeat. CPR was being done on arrival, and they started advanced life support measures, and the infant was breathing and crying when they reached the hospital. Both of these calls had great outcomes because of the skills of our firefighters, but also because we had adequate staffing to accomplish the outcomes. 2 children are alive today, so I don't know if we can put a price on a life. But, I just want to commend our guys. They did a fantastic job. I got a call from both hospitals. One was Bedford, one was Marymount, saying they did an exceptional job. The web-based medical reporting system that we started on March 1st is going well. The firefighters were complimented by the company that has maintained the system for us on a seamless transition, and he said it's going extremely well. End of report.
Thank you, Jeff. Law Department, Mr. Montello.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. No report tonight.
Okay. Police Department, Chief Norris.
Thank you, Madam President. I have no report also.
Engineering is gone. Human Services Department, Mrs. Bopan.
Thank you, Madam President. Currently, the Recreation Department is taking registration for the soccer program. It will begin in mid-April. You can sign up here at the Senior Center from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And there are 2 evening sign-ups that will take place later in the month, late in April. Also, we want to give you a heads up, we're going to have a candidates forum here on Wednesday, April 9th. That will be, there'll be a continental breakfast at 9:30, and the forum will begin at 10 o'clock. There will be, we have invited the candidates for state representative, state senator, and all of the county, the executive of the counties, all the candidates have been invited. Anyone who has a primary that will be on the Maple Heights ballot were invited to attend. There'll also be any of the issues that will be on the ballot will be also addressed that day, so we'll hope you attend. Thank you, end of report.
Thank you, Mrs. Bocrat. Citizens' comments, if you have anything that you'd like to share with us, you're welcome to step up to the podium.
Gerald Arnold.
1 second, please. Okay.
Gerald Arnold, 20709 Bowling Green Road. I just have a couple of comments that I was on the internet looking, and I was curious. I know that the city has on the ballot the proposal to raise the tax from 2.5% to 3%. So I looked and to see who else in the state has 3%, and I found one city, Parma Heights, is the only one. Matter of fact, right now we're currently at 2.5%. There's only 5 cities higher than 2.5%. So we're up here at the top of the tax table, and I do understand the need. I do know the cities need money to operate. I would encourage, however, the council to get 100% behind the mayor to get with the county and see why our tax values were lowered. And I know there's a lot of political stuff behind it, but nevertheless, we're the ones being hurt by the county's actions. And the mayor has looked into it, and I would encourage everyone to continue to look into it, because I don't know that if our values, I don't know that anyone's happy with where our values are, and I hope that we're not sitting to think, well, we're just resigned to the fact that they're never going up again. So I would encourage to join the mayor in his fight with the county to do something about our property values. But back to 3%, it's going to be hard for me to support it, though, and I'll tell you why. As I thought about it after our meeting last week, if the rate goes from 2.5% to 3%, that's a tax increase. The mayor did indicate, and I understand the reasoning behind it, he indicated that the tax credit that we pay to other cities could be looked at and it could be lowered. That it's another tax increase. So if you get 2 tax increases in the same year, that's a little bit much. Either lower the credit and keep it at 2.5%, or if it goes to 3%, leave the credit alone. So two tax increases to the same group of people. It's not hitting the seniors, and maybe part of in a future time, maybe then you look at taxing part of the seniors' income. That wouldn't be very popular either, but it'd be necessary if you have to tax the people that are working. So something to look at. Just don't say, well, we never do that. During the budget process that's going now, I haven't heard a lot about it. I know it's in process, but I'd like the council to consider, I'm sure you thought about it, but at least go full speed ahead to think about, do we need to do everything ourselves? Do we look to merge services with other communities? The ones that touch us and the ones maybe that don't touch us? And do we look to outsource anything? I know we've outsourced the building department. And is there anything else that could be outsourced? Sometimes that's better, sometimes not. You really have to do a good analysis to see if it's beneficial to the city or not. But I just wanted, as I thought about it, 2 tax increases in 1 year is a bit much.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'm sorry, I was remiss. The young ladies in the back are from the St. Monica's Girl Scout troop. I'm sorry, St. Martin's. St. Martin's Girl Scout troop. If you got a chance to buy your cookies tonight, that's wonderful. They will be back at the next meeting if you have not. So thank you again for your efforts, ladies. We appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to the legislation.
Resolution number 2014-18. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Court Community Service for alternative sentencing options to fit the needs of the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is going to be moved to the Housing and Economic Development Committee.
Ordinance number 2014-21, an ordinance amending section 26009 of the codified ordinances, amending the medical, dental, and vision care insurance employee contributions, and authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Medical Mutual Health Care pertaining to group medical insurance for non-union full-time employees and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its third and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Will you call the roll to suspend, please?
Brownlee,
No.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
No.
Jones,
Yes.
Sefrati,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. There'll be a first reading.
Resolution number 2014-22, a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for Digua, I can't pronounce it, Suburban Excavating, increasing the contract by $14,152.02 for the Broadway Avenue Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Project in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend this resolution and place it on its third and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Call the roll to suspend, please.
Brownlee,
Yes.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sefrati,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
May I have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Further discussion, please? Call the roll for adoption.
Brownlee,
Yes.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sefrati,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
The resolution passed by the vote, 7 yes, 0 no. Ordinance number 2014-23, an ordinance amending section 26019 of the codified ordinances regarding the equal employment opportunity policy in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this ordinance on its third and final reading? I need another second, please. Jones. Is there any discussion? Call the roll to suspend, please.
Brownlee,
No.
Trojansky,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sefrati,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
May I have a motion for adoption?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Madam President?
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes, Madam President, I have looked into this ordinance as well as the previous one from last meeting where we discussed changing, I wasn't present, but it was discussed changing the fair housing laws in our city. And it was purported to have been from HUD, the last one, but when I contacted HUD, nobody knew what I was talking about. Couldn't get anyone to say that we needed to make those changes, so I wondered where they came from. But now we have similar changes before us. And I asked two questions. First, is this addressing a current issue? Is this currently a problem in our city? I do not believe that any of these changes are addressing a current issue in our city. We're a community that doesn't discriminate by nature. We are a community that will allow anyone to move in and live here. To pass laws not addressing any issue is frivolous. Secondly, we are also a community that embraces our cultural roots in morality, which also extends to our view of marriage, that is between one man and one woman. And while you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with this legislation before us right here? This is non-discrimination employment legislation. It seems innocuous enough. And that's the way that some, not in this room, but elsewhere, would like us to look at it. It's innocuous, it's safe, it doesn't mean anything. It's just what we ought to do as a community. But what's really behind this is to get two classes in particular, which we've added to our employment clause here. It says sexual orientation and gender identity. Now I bring it up because this is part of those who would like to take away the definition of marriage as we understand it as a community. And they would like to see this language put in as many cities' ordinances as possible, so that later on they can point to it and say, see, this is a protected class. Therefore, we should change on a state level or on a federal level the laws concerning marriage that we hold dear. And so, on those two grounds, I would implore this body to not make these changes, because they are just a needless law. We aren't discriminating in this fashion. And secondly, because we don't want to be a tool in someone else's hands to change something that we hold dear.
Call the roll for adoption, please.
Madam Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Just like to respond to a couple of things here. I understand where Mr. Brownlee's coming from, but I don't think all the time that you need to wait for a problem to present itself before you address it. A lot of times it's best to present it beforehand. And as one who has some direct contact with equal opportunity and employment opportunities based on race, there gets to be a thin line between our religious beliefs and what we do every day as people. So, even though one may not believe in marriage between two people of the same gender, when it comes to equal employment, when it comes to other things, I think it's very important that we make it clear that there is no discrimination in that case. So, therefore, I think that this piece of legislation is important.
Call the roll for adoption, please.
Brownlee,
No.
Turjansky,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones, Saprati,
Abstain.
Jackson.
Yes.
The resolution passed by the vote, 5 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstain. Resolution number 2014-24, a resolution designating April 2014 as National Library Awareness Month in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Brownlee?
I have before me here an article from the Plain Dealer. I don't actually get the Plain Dealer, but a friend of mine, knowing that I was on city council, offered it to me because it concerns what I do as a councilman. You see in the big type there, it says instant law. Instant law, it says. And it says that county officials, county councils have acquired an unfortunate taste for instant law. I left a few back there, copies of it, on the back table. And what they found in their research is that roughly 87% of the time, 87% of legislation introduced within the county is passed instantaneously. It comes forward on its first reading, suspend the rules, they vote on it, it's passed.
Councilman Brownlee, is this relevant to the voting of this
It's
particular
absolutely
one?
relevant. We are asking to suspend the rules.
Because it happens to be April next week.
Thank you, Madam
When
Chair.
would you like us to pass this?
Madam Chair,
June?
please, I wish you wouldn't interrupt my comments.
Would you please take your comments a little
I
little
thank
faster,
you.
please?
Madam Chair, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to this issue.
Quickly.
I will speak as long as necessary, Madam Chair. Thank you. This is instant law. So, we just kind of waltz in here. We say, I got a great idea. I came up with it yesterday. I'll throw it on the agenda today, and we'll pass it tonight. Let's do that. We have an insatiable taste for just getting things done as fast as possible without thought for the ramifications. It's already happened multiple times this year.
Excuse me,
And
what are
so-
the ramifications, Councilman Brownlee, of
I'm glad that you
declaring-
asked. I'm glad that you asked, Madam Chair. We decided in February 5th, that we were going to change the way we work escrow in the city. And we thought no big deal. No one listened. I thought we should give this some more thought. Well, now, since we have been spending as a city all the escrow funds that are given to us by other individuals, which we aren't even legally permitted to spend, now we don't have any more of that money coming in. You know, we've been spending that money for months and months.
Mr. Brownlee, I think you have gone far
so-
off of the topic, and I would like you to stop can you please sum up your discussion so that
I'm
we
getting
can
there,
move
Madam
on?
Chair. I'm getting
You nod very quickly. Please move on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, we didn't give this due deliberation, and now, guess what? We're going to have $1.8 million, or $1 million less this year to work with, because we're going to have to pay that money out. So, I hope that doesn't cause us to default as a city, but since we had to pass it right then and there, that's what we did. And now there's ramifications. And so I would ask that we consider the way we conduct business and give more time for deliberation, because there might be good ideas out there or things we don't see happening behind the scenes that might come to the surface.
Thank you, Councilman Brownlee. I think you're finished and we would like to move on. Please call for the vote, please.
Brownlee,
No.
Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee. We're voting on,
We're voting on National Library Week, which happens in April. We're not voting on month.
month.
Yes. Right.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Thank you. May I get a motion for adoption, please? Call for the vote.
Madam Chair.
Brownlee,
Madam Chair, point of order.
Would you move on,
We
please?
skipped discussion, Madam Chair.
I think we had a lengthy discussion.
Madam Chair,
We
this
are
is a
ready to
separate
discuss.
motion. This is a separate motion. It requires its own time of discussion.
Mr. Brownlee, I'm going to call for a roll on the adoption. If
Well,
you-
okay, if you want to break Robert's rules, which governs our meetings, then you can
Doesn't
go ahead.
doesn't bother me a bit, Mr. Brownlee, and I'm going to
Go
ask you to be escorted out of this room if you don't settle
Madam
down.
Chair, point of
Settle
order.
down, Mr. Brownlee.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Could you imagine if we had a major crisis instead of National Library Month? I mean, that would be,
Please call the roll.
Brownlee,
No.
Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
yes,
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
The resolution passed by the vote 6 yes, 1 no.
Thank you.
Ordinance number 2014-25, an ordinance requiring the clerk of council to deliver to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections proposed amendments to Article 7, Section 1, and Article 17 of the Charter of the City of Maple Heights decreasing the members of council and the number of districts to 5, to be submitted to the electors at the November 4th, 2014 general election and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance will be moved to Public Works and Safety Committee
Ordinance
for
number
discussion.
2014-26, an ordinance requiring the clerk of council to deliver to the Cuyahoga County Board of Elections a proposed amendment to Article 3, Section 1, and Article 7, Section 5 of the Charter of the City of Maple Heights, eliminating the elected position of President of Council, to be submitted to the electors at the November 4th, 2014 general election and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance will also be moved to Committee Public Works and Safety for discussion. Would you look at your expenditures over $1,000, please? That would be from 2014-32 to 35. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Bromley?
I would move to amend the expenditures over 1,000 by removing 2014-36 for there. We have not heard a good reason to be part of NOACA at the moment, and therefore I would suggest us not paying the $3,000 to pay the dues until we're sure of its benefits for the city.
I believe we just did that by eliminating number 36, but thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Moving on, would you please call the roll?
Brownlee,
Yes.
Krasinski,
Yes.
A.G.,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones, Surratt, Jackson.
Yes.